He spent 10 seasons in professional baseball with the Montreal Expos and New York Mets organizations. His youth camps have inspired thousands of kids to follow their big league dreams. A proud father and husband, he's also a highly respected sportscaster on French language radio and TV networks in the province of Quebec. And as a successful businessman, he's spreading his wings once again as a highly sought after, inspirational speaker, sharing his messages of hope and optimism for audiences all over Canada. Hey everyone, the reinvention of Derek Aucoin is a story that I find utterly fascinating, how a guy goes from pitching Major League Baseball to becoming a businessman, to becoming a professional speaker, and a sportscaster as well. Derek, thanks so much for joining us here on the Reinvention Chronicles. And I have to ask you, first of all, to tell everyone the story, because it's the one that really connected us right away on the phone, the story about how you became a Major League Baseball player when you were like 10 years old. That story to me is priceless.
First of all, thank you for having me, for taking the time. It's awesome, a privilege to meet you and to spend the time with you. Yeah, the story is a cool story because it's a story of a kid who got to live out his childhood dream, his boyhood dream of playing Major League Baseball with the team that he grew up loving. And it started at an early age. I was a big Montreal Expos fan. And in 1980, when I was 10 years old, I was just playing in front on the front lawn in front of my house. And at that time, in a small town I lived in, they would come by with a car with speakers on top, like the Blues Brothers a little bit, and they would be announcing what's going on in the weekend. It could be a corn roast, or it could be a garage sale, or whatever. And this particular Friday afternoon, they were announcing that a softball tournament was being held in town that weekend, and during the finals, the playoffs, the championship game, a couple of Montreal Expo players would be on hand to hand out the trophies to the winners. So I'm 10 years old, I hear this, I run up in my house, and I can't believe it. Mommy, Expos are going to be in the park,
in your neighborhood.
Right in my neighborhood at the park. It was called Parc Charbonneau, and I was beyond myself. I was so excited to meet some Montreal Expo players. Saturday, I remember going to bed. I think I went to bed with my baseball glove, and I woke up Sunday morning, a crack of dawn. I'm on my bicycle. I go to the park. They're still getting the fields ready. The championship rounds haven't even started yet, and the Expos were actually playing that afternoon, Gair. So I spend the whole day there, waiting for the Expos. Finally, at night, because the Expos were playing in the afternoon at Olympic Stadium. So this is after the game. A big white Lincoln pulls up in center field. They open up the fences in center field and drives onto the field, and two guys come out, two giants of men come out, Andre Dawson and a rookie by the name of Tim Wallach. They walked around, signed autographs. I got to shake their hands, and I told them that one day I was going to play for the Expos. That was my dream. And Andre Dawson was, sort of, he's a very quiet guy, but he said, yeah, go for it, and that was it. And I shook his hand.
But you were telling me something happened in that moment with Andre Dawson.
That handshake, something happened with that handshake. I looked at him like this at the time. Now I look down because I'm taller than him, but at the time I'm a little 10-year-old, and I understood a lot of things. First of all, it lit something in me that still lights me up today. But I understood the responsibility that we have as role models, as professional athletes, as citizens, and the impact that we can have on people. Because that 10-year-old spent his whole life wanting to be like Andre Dawson, and wanted to play for the Expos like Andre Dawson.
So you were telling me that one moment, that chance encounter with Andre Dawson, who of course had a Hall of Fame career,
absolutely,
not only with the Expos but the Chicago Cubs, and so that one moment, you were telling me, that fueled a 10-year ride through baseball's minor leagues. If you ever watch Bull Durham, that's the kind of experience that Derek lived, riding the buses between Harrisburg and Bradenton and West Palm Beach. But that one moment carried you all the way to the majors.
Absolutely. That one moment shaped everything. That one moment is the reason I'm here sitting with you today. That one moment is it showed me that there was something possible, that there was something out there that you can strive for, that you can work towards, and that one moment helped. It made a lot of decisions easier for me, and decisions such as riding the bus for 10 years
right.
for 2 major league games, because my 10-year career, I only played in 2 big league games. I was on the major league roster for a few years, but I only played in 2 major league games. But that one moment was it was worth it.
But as a Major League Baseball pitcher, 2 2/3 innings in 2 games, still, that puts you in the company of what? Something like 16,000 people who've made it to Major League Baseball. Yeah. When you consider the millions and millions of kids from all over the world who just want to play in the big leagues, you made it. How do you evaluate that achievement and then what you've been able to do afterwards?
The achievement is special, yes, because for the reason you just said, there's not a lot of guys, not a lot of men have had the privilege of wearing a Major League Baseball uniform in their lifetime. In Quebec, and I am French Canadian. There's only 3 of us that 3 French Canadians that put on a Major League uniform that played for the Expos. So I'm in even a smaller group there. And if I'm even in a more select group because I'm the only French Canadian to sign with the Expos to make it to the Major League. So I'm one of one. Okay. So all that to say that I do recognize that it's a very special group, but there's something so much bigger to me. There's something so much bigger to for my family, for my relationships, than being a baseball player or Major League Baseball player, because everything that I am and what I strive to be was to emulate a man that I met in 1980 named Andre Dawson, and who it really touched me into the deepest part.
Gotta ask you about this. Baseball is finished, and you're one of those athletes who are former athletes that I can look at and say, you don't really ride or rest on the laurels of your big league career or having been a pro baseball player. You really successfully turned the page, as it were, and you see now your mission as a speaker, as a father, and as a business person as much bigger. In other words, I'm trying to say, you don't define yourself by baseball anymore.
No.
Tell us about that.
Okay, well, first of all, it wasn't easy. It's not easy to transition into the after career. I think I was ready. Oftentimes even criticized because I always seemed to have a lot of plan Bs in case baseball didn't work out. I'm not someone who went to school a long time. I wish I had, but I didn't have that, because when I was young, as the age of 16, I had baseball teams that wanted to sign me to a professional contract. I held out until I was 19, but still I never got a chance to finish my collegiate studies or go to university. But I always had a business mind. I always saw opportunities. I saw business opportunities. I've done everything from sell water treatment to different businesses to create giveaways for ballparks. I find a way to identify areas where there might be a need of something, and my mind is always working at something. Now, with that said, baseball has always been at the center of that because I love baseball. But I've always also said that if you take baseball away from me, I'll do something else, because I know people, because I like people. I like to help people. So baseball is the medium of my message. Baseball is the medium of what I use, and sports is, but at the same time, it doesn't define me, not once, not at all.
So let me ask you this, Derek. Knowing that you've successfully transitioned from one career into now basically multiple careers, someone watching this today, and you've met these people, I know, for instance, at a recent speaking engagement. Yeah. Somebody watching today on this particular episode, they're stuck. They feel trapped in their 9-to-5 existence or whatever it is they're doing, and they feel they're supposed to do something else. What advice would you share with someone right now?
I think the most important thing, Gair, is honesty. Is to be very honest. You have to be honest with yourself. You have to be honest of where you are, where you're starting from, and you got to be very clear on where you want to go. What do you want? a lot of times people just, they'd love to have more success. They'd love to have more money. They'd love to have more but what does that mean? What does that mean specifically? And I think that a lot of people that don't have a clear plan or a clear idea of what their outcome is, they just sort of float and they go from one project to another because they never truly engage. So I say, find what you really want, what you really like, and become passionate about that. Because when you're passionate about something, you become so much smarter. You get to meet people that are in the same, that feel the same way, right. And you have your networks. You can create things like that. But if you really want something, you have to be very clear on what it is. It can't be vague. Your goals, your plan, your objectives, they have to be crystal clear.
I'm setting you up for how we're going to wrap this up, but here's the setup question. What role does serendipity and accidental magic play?
Well, when you're passionate about something, the answers come. I believe that you become smarter in a certain area when you're truly passionate. But I also believe when you're truly passionate about something, there's a funny thing that happens that you run into people or events get placed in front of you because you're open to that and because you're working in that direction. Does that make sense?
Totally, and this is where it comes full circle now. Now let's close the loop, as it were, and bring us to Cooperstown, the Baseball Hall of Fame, the induction of Andre Dawson.
Yes, so in 2010, I'm at the induction of Andre Dawson. 30 years after I met him, 30 years after him. Now he's in the Hall of Fame. I'm there with my future wife, who made the trip with me to recognize Andre Dawson at this great event. My future wife, my wife-to-be, becomes my wife, and we name our son Dawson. We name our son Dawson in honor of Andre Dawson. And the ballpark where I met Andre Dawson and I shook his hand that same year, that ballpark became Derek Aucoin Park, where it all started. So we're not coming full circle because I don't think the circle will ever finish, but you can tell just the gifts that continue to come to me from that meeting and from my understanding of the responsibility, because now many years later I'm getting letters and I'm getting emails that I am the Andre Dawson in other people's lives, and that right there is one of the most amazing achievements that one can strive for.
Derek, thanks so much for taking time out to do this here at the top of Place Ville-Marie in Montreal.
I wish I had a better view for you guys, but it's beautiful up here.
Little foggy today, but no question, the story of Derek Aucoin, I think, captures perfectly the essence of being touched by the words of a hawk for a life and a career that has certainly gathered a lot of wings and has certainly taken flight. So again, thank you, Derek.
Never ending.
And hopefully some of these thoughts inspire you to recreate and reimagine the business, the career, the life that you deserve.